Okay, so our recording has started, and so today's topic is how to enable static website or how to perform a static website hosting using AWS S3, and what are the things or what are the steps we need to follow to host a static website, and why it is important for us to learn because it holds a significant role in our real-time work when we perform or when we join any project. If there is anything static content. Okay, did you guys able to understand what is static content? There are usually two types of website. One is static, another one is dynamic, right? So static means the website where you cannot perform any kind of work. Like that's not an interactive website. You cannot post anything there. You cannot like update the status like that. It's only blog. Generally, you used to see blogs, right, in the Google. So those are static website. Usually, we don't perform any sort of operation on that website. We can consider them as static website. Okay. Then after that, what is dynamic? Dynamic, think about Facebook. You are updating your status there, you are updating your location there, you are updating your feelings there. Those are dynamic websites, right? Whatever you are posting there, it is reflecting on over the website. So that means it needs a compute or to run its logic or to perform that sort of action. Then after that, outcome will be reflected over the website. Okay, but static is completely different. You must have experienced various blogging site where we just go and fetch the details, right? We just get the knowledge or read the thing throughout the website. So those are considered as static website. If and we know that in every application there will be few of the static website. So that's why it is important. We are not going to use any sort of compute device for them. We will simply enable that option through the S3. Okay. Any confusion over static, dynamic, or anything what we are going to do today? It's a completely lab integrated session today we'll be having. So I will first clear the theory. After that, we will move to the lab. Okay. Any doubt, guys, or anything you want to ask? Otherwise, I will move. Okay, so let's go to the next step. Okay, this is a website. Okay, this is a website. Let me show you the content where I am having right now. If I go to my folder section, okay, see, this is a folder section, and this is something desktop. There is a folder DevOps 26 and S3. Within that static web hosting, I have the folder, and within this, I have one index.html, a scripts file, one is styles.css file. If I move out S3, see static web hosting, within that I have these all files, which means all the website related stuff right now residing in my local laptop, right? If you guys want to access it, it should not be possible for you. Also, let's verify here too. If I go to the website now, okay, if I go to this website, right, you can see URL. In the URL section, what it is showing? It is saying that index.html is the file which is getting displayed here, right? And the path from where it is getting displayed, static web hosting, DevOps 26, S3, right? My folder structure it is showing you, which means this is not available over the internet right now, so that no one cannot access it. Anyone cannot access right now. It is not publicly available. It is only available in my local. And if I have to see, this is your website, right? Anyhow, it need to be hosted over the internet so that anyone can use it or what sort of expected thing they can do here. So how can we do that? For that, we are having one option here, that is AWS S3 static web hosting. But before that, let's take a look at the theory section. What is hosting? What is dynamic, static and dynamic? The difference between both of them, and why we have chosen S3 as an hosting option. Okay, let me go and open the theory section. Okay, so here is our PDF for the theory. We can see the first option is web hosting. Let's take a look what is web hosting. Okay. When you create a website, you need to store its file somewhere so that people can access it online, right? That is perfectly makes sense to everyone. Otherwise, how people are going to access it, right? Whatever you are going to do, you will definitely create or perform within the files. It may be a HTML file, CSS, JS file, different types of file as per the development people will develop. Okay, once they develop that, then after that, those files need to be placed in somewhere remote location or a centralized location from where all the people through the internet can access that, right? That is known as web hosting. Second option, what it is saying, web hosting services provide space on a server for your website's files and make it available for access via website. Sorry, via web means the internet. So what it is saying, web hosting services. Okay, there are various web hosting services available in the market. So what they will do, they will provide you a space on their server so that you can place your file there, and using internet people will access those files like a website, right? Now let's take a look types of web hosting available. Okay, first type of web hosting is shared hosting, right? Shared hosting means the real example is, you must have heard about GoDaddy, right? Or like Namecheap or Hostinger. Those are shared hostings where you don't have control over your server management. They are having a server. Okay, you are going to share your website details with them so that they will host that over that server, which means that server is completely not dedicated one only for you. They must be having a huge or large size of server on which they might have shared, or they might have hosted something around 20 or 10 websites. Okay, so that which means that server is shared between 10 or 20 people. That approach is known as shared hosting, where you are not responsible for the management of that server or compute servers. Okay. Second point is VPS hosting. VPS stands for Virtual Private Service. Okay, sorry, Virtual Private Server Hosting. You can have a VPS, right? You can have a virtual server, and over that you can host your website like EC2. Okay, like EC2, you can have a virtual server, or what you can do, you can get a server from the market and install. The hypervisor software, and then after that you can create VMs out of that physical server, and then in any of the virtual machine you can host your website. Okay, that is VPS hosting, virtual private server. Okay, then comes the third one is dedicated hosting. Okay, dedicated hosting means completely you have dedicated one whole server to the website hosting. Okay, you have a physical server. It might be a physical server, it might be a virtual server like EC2 in the cloud, and that single server will be only used for hosting a website. In that scenario, we can consider that as a dedicated hosting. Okay, fourth point comes cloud hosting, right? Since we are going through the cloud hosting, and cloud hosting is the new technology era right now, most of the applications are getting hosted over the cloud. But yeah, when we are going to host a website or web application in the cloud, there are various options available for doing that task, right? Like EC2 is one option. You can use a container like ECS, okay, Elastic Container Service. If you want to host it in a large scale, then you need to go with EKS, okay, Elastic Kubernetes Service. You have to opt for the Kubernetes if it is a large scale application, so that you can have the auto scale, downscale, those all options there, okay. So that is cloud hosting. It depends upon your use cases and the size of your application or and expected traffic what you are going to have. So that is cloud hosting option. The fifth one is static web hosting. Okay, right now the one we are going to see or discuss. Static web hosting is also one type of cloud hosting, but it is specific to S3. So that we can say it like S3 static web hosting. It is only available in S3. Okay, none other option available for this kind of thing. And S3 will be only performing static web hosting. There will be no backend performance, there will be no logic operation. So dynamic web hosting is not allowed. Only static web hosting is allowed. Okay. Now let's see what is static web hosting. Okay. What is static web hosting? The first introduction here it is saying static web hosting is a type of web hosting where the content served to the user is fixed and does not change unless manually updated. Okay, makes sense? Completely like an blogging site. If you have seen any of the web applications about us page, okay, those pages are ideal example of static website. They usually don't changes, right? Until if there is any changes needed, until unless someone from the team who has hosted the application, they need to do that from their end. After that, that website will be updated. You cannot do anything from your end if you want to modify anything in that website, right? If you want to perform any update or perform any sort of operation, it is not allowed to you. Okay, so that's why it is saying content served to the user fixed and does not change unless manually updated, which means the application team need to do that operation from themselves. This contrasts with dynamic web hosting, where the content can change based on user interaction or other inputs, often requiring a server-side processing environment. So, what is the dynamic web hosting? Here it is trying to explain where things can change open your interest or open your provided inputs. How it is getting possible? By processing or by having a processor at the server side. Okay, when we host our application over EC2, I'll show you that as well. We are not going to stick to only static web hosting. We will also perform the dynamic web hosting using an EC2 or over containers. Okay, those are like next level thing which we are going to see very soon. But here what it is trying to say, when you will host or when you are expecting something to be processed, like let's think about logging in. So user enters their user ID and passwords, then it will be processed and it will be authenticated. After that, it will land you in the home page. So this kind of thing need to be happened over a server-side processing environment. That means you need a compute device for them. Okay. Now comes key characteristics. What are the key characteristics we have in the static web hosting? First option is fixed content. The content of the website is pre-written and stored in files like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and images. If you want to add images, you can also add images, logo, whatever you want, anything you can do there since it is a static site. These files are directly served to the user's browser without any server-side processing. Okay, when any user requests for this page, okay, or they try to view this web page will be directly processed to them directly delivered to them without any server-side processing. Why? Because they are not providing any user input, and since this is static, it is nothing have to with the processing. Whatever it is holding, it will just directly deliver that thing directly to the user. Second point, no server side processing. Okay, unlike dynamic website, static websites do not run server side scripts, okay, like PHP or Node.js to generate content, which means there is no backend section. In dynamic, what exactly happened? There will be a front-end section. When you provide some user input, the backend logic will perform some operation, which is definitely going to happen at the server side or endpoint, right? Server side means where you have hosted your application, right? In the AWS or maybe GCP or wherever you have hosted. There will be happened the operation. After that, it will fetch your related stuff or your related details and get back to you or show you there, right? So in static, we are not performing any server side operation. The content is static and the same for every user. Okay, why we are not performing? Because it is same for every user. About us page is same for everyone, right? A company's about us page, it is same for me, it is same for you, all of us. Whoever want to see that, it is same. So there is nothing process need to be processed at the server side. Third point is simplicity and speed, right? This makes completely sense. Why? Because since we are not using any or we are not doing any sort of operation, right? Server side operation, then definitely it will be fast, right? So let's take a look. Static websites are straightforward to create and deploy, right? These are straightforward processes. Because there is no server side processing, they are often faster to load and more secure. Okay. Now comes the question why we will go with the AWS S3. After that, we will move to the practical session. So this means the advantages of S3 static web hosting, which we are going to take a look. The first advantage is scalability. Okay, scalability means you don't have to think about the number of users are going to hit your website. Why? Because since there is no compute device, there is no management need to be done from your configuration end. So, and it is hosted over S3, and we already know that S3 is a scalable option, right? So there it is highly scalable. Okay, it will be always available. If anything goes wrong with the S3, which is very rarely seen, then after that might be your website will get down. Otherwise, there is none other a single problem you are going to have there. Second option is cost of effective, right? Since we are not hiring or since we are not renting any sort of dedicated virtual machine for our website and we are doing it through the S3, that means it is definitely going to charge very less, right? Why? Because there is no compute dedicated compute services attached to this one. This is completely like storing your file or storing your stuff over in a remote storage, right? That's why it is cost effective. High availability and durability. We have already seen the availability option or the availability commitment, availability and durability commitment by through the AWS, which AWS provides to its client, right? So the same experience we are going to have in the S3 as well. Okay, as per the AWS commitment, in this throughout the whole year, if there is a chance of S3 will be down, so it must like it may go up to 8 hours, not in a single page. It might be 10 minutes, it might be 5 minutes, but not more than 8 hours over the whole year. Okay, so which means it is highly available. Fourth point, fast content delivery. Yeah, makes sense completely since it is static web hosting. It is and nothing processing at the backend or server side. So this is very fast content delivery. Simple to management. You just have to create your file and then directly upload them into the S3, which we will show you how to do it. Okay, that is pretty simple. Then comes the security. Yeah, from security point of perspective, yeah, since this is within our specific AWS account, which is completely isolated from the outer side environment, no one cannot access that, and you can have the specific restrictions over your S3 as well, so that no one can access or no one can directly get into your S3. Only they will be able to view the static website or the web page which is hosted in your S3. Okay, so these are the few of the options. So anything you guys want to ask, Somya, any question, Anjali, or all clear, or any confusion here?
Clear, Ramkitan.
Okay, Durga.
Okay, sir. Beginning.
Okay, nice. Nice. So now let's move to the practical session, okay, where I will show you. I have already show you, right? Here is the website, right? This is the website, and if I want you guys to view this website, there is no option I have, right? Because there is only one way to access this website through the internet, but this website is not available till now in the internet world, right? Why? Because this is completely in my local laptop. You guys can see this is my folder structure, right? This is, so how I'm going to do it? I have to uh, upload or deploy this website into the S3. Then after, there are few options we need to enable. After that, you will be able to see this content from your end as well. Okay, so let's first take a look. Here are the files. You guys can see I have index.html. This is script file. This is styles.css file. Okay, three files I have, and these three of them need to be uploaded to the AWS S3. Now let's go and do that. Here is the AWS S3. Sorry, I have already logged into my AWS. Okay, this is the account. And if I get into the S3, okay, let's go ahead and create a bucket for that purpose. Okay, general purpose, bucket name. I'll name it something like static web hosting, cloud master, just to make sure that name is available. Hyphens are allowed in the bucket name, and I'll create it with all other default options. Okay, I'm not going to touch anything. Create bucket. Once bucket will be created, after that, first thing what I'll do, I'll go to the property section and enable bucket versioning. Why? Because I want to make sure that since I am going to store the data which can be modified or which will be modified in future, okay, so that I need to track the data or track the website files. So for that I need to enable versioning, right? You guys know what is bucket versioning, which we have already discussed. Okay, to track the files or to the revert back to our previous file. So I am enabling versioning. Save changes, versioning is enabled. Okay, now if I go to the object, now see the toggle is available. Okay, and since I have not uploaded any file yet, I am not getting any of the version or any of the things here. Okay, once versioning is enabled, let's go ahead and upload the file. Add files, and I am going to, these are all my files. Selected, open. Now all the files are see here available. I'm going to upload them. Okay, now all the files are uploaded, and now you can see these files are currently available in my S3 folder. Okay, if I get into any of the file and if I click on open, let's see. See, now I can see the content of the file, but it is not getting the way I was looking in my local, right? Why? Because it's not an hosted website. It's just a normal file which I have opened randomly in another browser. Okay. So what we need to do, we need to enable hosting. Where can we do that? Go to the property section, scroll to the bottom. See, there is an option static website hosting. Use this bucket to host a website or redirect request. Now let's go ahead, click on edit, and by default it is always disabled. You need to enable it. Okay, when I select enable, now it is saying hosting type, host a static website, right? Yes, we want to host a website, static website. And one more option is there, redirect request for an object, redirect request to another bucket or domain. You can redirect from here to, okay, from here by providing a path, the request can be redirected to any other website along with any other bucket object. But what we are going to perform, we will be performing hosting a static website. And by default, what it is saying, specify the home or the default page of the website. It's always index.html. Okay, always the default page name is index.html. It cannot be changed. Okay, now what it is saying, do you have any error.html page? Which means if someone is not available, someone is not able to get the index.html, do you want to show them a customized error.html page? Right now I am saying no, I don't have any error.html page. Okay, just throw the generic error response. Let's go save changes. Okay, I just updated my bucket with static website hosting. Once it is done, then after that, one more time, you need to scroll to the bottom. Go to that same static website hosting section, and you can see there is a URL. Okay, now it is popping up there. If you click on it URL, okay, what it is saying, access denied, 403 forbidden, which means I have enabled the static website hosting, but I need to perform some sort of permission stuff over my S3. Why? Because S3 is a very secure bucket or secure storage service, and still now I have not granted or I have not opened a way so that anyone can view the content. Okay, let's do that now. So where we can update the permissions, sorry, update those things in the permissions tab. Okay, let's go there. We have to add a bucket policy. Okay, where I can say, I'm going to say that anyone from the internet can view means get object operation, perform get object operation on my bucket, right? But if you see what it is saying, public access is blocked because block public access settings are turned on for this bucket. If you have watched my previous session where we have discussed how block public access works, okay, in that thing I have explained. Don't need to explain it again here, but I'll show you where I can do that. First, we need to disable this option. Okay, then after that, it is possible for me to add a permission there or add a policy there. Let's go edit, completely select this. Otherwise, if you want to disable only ACL and allow bucket policy, you can check mark these two, so which makes sure that you cannot do anything from the ACL end, but you can make changes from the bucket policy. Otherwise, it's good practice to disable all of them. Save changes, confirm. So what I did just now, I just disabled the block public access option. Then after that, till now I have not granted anyone the permission to access the objects in my bucket. After that, we can grant that. Okay. Now let's go ahead and click on edit. Okay. Now I have to do that. Let's add a new statement. I am using the UI. Okay. For which service we are looking, S3, right? Then what is the operation I am looking? I want everyone can read the object in my file or can view the content of the object, right? So what is that? That is get object, or you can search. Here is get. Just look at alphabetically all the permissions are listed. Now see get bucket. We need to go to get object. See, here it is, get object. If you want to see the details, you can click on info. See, grants permission to retrieve objects from Amazon S3 so that they can view the files. Okay, get object is selected. Now let's go ahead and add resource. Okay, now saying specify the resource type and ARN to add for the selected device. Okay, S3, then resource type, all resources, resource ARN star. Add resource. Okay, resource is added. After that, what I have to do, I have to add the principal as well. One second, let me modify this statement now. I'll name it same, uh, static content love, or okay. And in the principal, see here is the principal section where we need to mention, or we need to say that this will be allowed for anyone who is available in the internet, which means star. Okay, for anyone. Then in the resource, okay, this is wrong. Don't put star. I am saying all the objects in this bucket. Okay, just then comma, one more thing, control V slash star. Why slash star I provided? I am saying anything available within that bucket. Anything available within that bucket. What are the things available? Index.html, that CSS file, and that JavaScript file. I am saying those three files. What can happen? S3 get object operation can happen. Allowed for whom? For anyone. There's something wrong with this policy. Let me fix the syntax. Okay, the syntax is fixed. It is properly formatted now. Let's go ahead and save changes. Okay, so this is a policy example for where I am saying everyone who is or whoever trying to access my content, they can get it. Okay, why everyone? Because I put star in the principal. Star means all, right? And what they can access? The content within this bucket. And what sort of operation they can do? They can only perform get object. They cannot delete anything, they cannot upload anything, they can only view the content. Now let's go and verify. Okay, with permission perspective we are good. Now let's go to that 403 side which was previously showing me error. Now let's refresh this. See, I am successfully able to view the website over the internet. Now you just take a look. This is a HTTP URL. Okay, let me send it to you, or I can grab it from there. Go ahead, verify this thing works for all of you, and confirm back to me. Okay, Soumya and Durga, check this and confirm back. This website is properly working for you, which means you guys are far away from me and you are able to view this content through the internet. Soumya, can you confirm? Are you checking it? Durga, can you take a look?
Yes. How did you get?
Yeah. Are you able to see this website?
Yes, yes. I'm able to see this.
Okay, nice. So, which means our website is successfully hosted over the internet right now. Okay, right now it is available over the internet, and anyone who wants to access my website, they can view the content of the website. This is just a demo site. Similar way you can put your information there, right? You can put your resume too. Instead of having a specific resume, you can put your resume or you can put your project details over a website, and you can provide that link in your resume so that whenever or anyone wants to check your projects, they can get into the website. From there they can check, see that. Okay, so that's the kind of use case I was just trying to explain. But we are right now able to host the website in the S3. Okay. But here comes few of the delimitation or few of the drawbacks. The first thing is, if you take a look what it is saying, it is not secure. The website which the link which we are trying to access to our website, this is not a secure link. Why? If you get into this, or if I show you the website URL, see what it is. It is just HTTP. There is no S, which means it is not a secure one. But we know that in real world or in the internet world, everything need to be secure. Otherwise, no people is going to access your website. Then how can we do that? Is it possible to do that in S3? Or do you have to attach any other resource with that so that it can make it HTTPS? Okay. The answer is yes, we need to attach another resource like CloudFront. Okay. When we integrate CloudFront with this S3, then after that we will be having one secure domain name which will be easily or like easily trustable by everyone so that they can get into our website. Okay, one more stop. Let's take a look. Another thing. Now see the domain name. Is this a domain name you are expecting for your website? Is this a really human readable domain name? Is this makes any sense? No, right? Because we have seen domain names like company or organization names, Zomato, Flipkart, Facebook, domain names are like that. Then why we are going to have a domain like such kind of dumb domain name? We also need a domain name on our name specific. Let's assume if our organization or our institute name is Cloud Master Academy, then we need a domain name on Cloud Master Academy specific. Okay, then how can we do that? Is it possible to do in S3? No, we cannot do that. Then how can we have a customized domain name for ourselves? For that, we need to purchase a domain on specific to our name. Okay, from any of the domain name provider. There are various domain name sellers like GoDaddy is a domain seller, Namecheap is a domain seller, and Route 53, which is also an AWS native resource. They also sells the domain name. Okay, from there we have to go there and find our domain name availability and purchase their domain name. Once we purchase that thing, then after that we can integrate or we can deliver our website through our own organization specific uh, domain, right? Makes sense to you all, guys? Okay, so those two stuff we are going to see or we will perform in our next session after purchasing a domain. Okay, since we don't have any domain right now, we will be purchasing one domain. After that, we will perform that practical. Otherwise, this is just, and that's why at the beginning I mentioned this is just a minor project, minor component of a major project or small component. The major project or the flow is completely something like that. Website will be residing in S3. Then after that, we are going to have the CloudFront. Then on front of the CloudFront, we will be having Route 53. So where we can deliver our own website through a customized own organization specific domain name. Okay. Right now, let's take a look more into this thing. Okay. So here, when I have hosted the application, at that point it was asking me, do you have any error page, right? If I go there, edit, and see, there is no error page which we have uploaded. Let's go ahead and create a error page and try to upload. I'll use any AI tool for that. Let's go with the chat GPT. I'll just say Hey, create a error page along with required stuff for my website. Cloud Master Academy hosted in S3. Okay, see, here is the error page. Let's go ahead. Okay, these steps, okay, for error, it is also suggesting a few of the stuff. See what will happen if I only copy this and save it in my local. Let's save this. And Visual Studio. See, there is the text is there. Let's rename it. Let's do one thing. Delete this. I'll create a new file here. Into the folder static web hosting. Just step back. Open this site trust. The same manner we will be creating, that is error.html. Control B, pasted. The code is pasted here. Now you can see error page is there. Let's open it. Okay, this page is okay. This is something like that, showing why the assets are not loaded yet. We need to load the assets too. Okay, so this is a folder structure. What it is saying, the folder structure is something like, let's create a folder structure. Always make sure to follow the same folder structure. The first folder name will be assets, enter, and within that there will be another one, new folder, css, enter. Within that, let's open that in the there now, assets, css, create a file. This file name is going to be something like, wait, what happened? errors.css. Now let me grab the content. There it is. Let's copy this, paste it. Okay, error file is done. Now within the assets folder, go ahead, create one more. That will be just that will be JS folder, I think. Yeah, JS. Enter. Now create one more file there. File name is error.js. Copy it, pasted. Now let's see how our error page looks. Okay. Now see, this is something tremendous looking my error page. Okay. 404. Oops, this page has drifted into the cloud. Looking for does not exist, has been removed or may have been removed. Don't worry, your learning journey is still on track. Back to home. If I click on back to home, it is redirecting me completely to my local laptop. Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead and update this thing in our cloud now. So how can we do that? Same way, I have to go to my bucket and upload. This time I'll be uploading all other files. What else was not previously present? Okay, these two error and under anything under the assets. Open. Second, first upload the error page. Uploaded. Close. After that, let's go ahead, upload add folder, and this time I will be uploading assets. Upload. Okay, my contents are now available in my S3 bucket. You can see assets folder is there. If I get into CSS, JavaScript, both two files are there. One is serving error and another is error.js. Now go to the properties section. Again, go back to the static web hosting, edit. What we will be looking for? Error. We are trying to. Okay, wait one thing. Wait 1 minute. Let me show you. If I'll be not getting my website, okay, then what is the error? After adding this page, how it will be showing you. Where I have opened my website. Here it is the website, right? Let's do one thing. Uh, let's test it. How can we do that? Let me take a look. Let's ask here. How can I test it? Okay. Now let me show you. We can just tweak with this one. Let's remove this one, Amazon AWS. I'll remove AWS from there. So which means it will not redirect me to my real website. Why? Because I have modified the domain and this domain is not a valid domain. Let's see. This site can be reached now. Okay, this is the what stuff we are getting. If I go and update the error page, because I want to have a attractive error page, I'll saying error.html. Why? Because I have already uploaded my error stuff to the bucket. Now let's go save changes. Okay, everything is saved. Now let me open the website one more tab, and if I go and again remove the AWS from the domain name. Okay, it is not redirecting to the error page now. Want to see. Let's take a look this thing. Okay, now see, I am able to see my error page. Why? Because when I get into that index.html and I try to explore is there anything available, you can see what is the path given does not exist, right? Nothing that kind of stuff available in my bucket. That's why by default it landed me to the error page. Okay, if you want to test it, you can use or you can provide a path. Okay, here where I have removed AWS, just go back to AWS, add the AWS there, then after that just provide a path to anything, it will land us directly in the error page, which means what it is saying, what you are looking for, it's not available. Okay, it's not available in this bucket or it's not available in this website. That's why we have created one custom error page which I just hosted or I added to the same bucket, so that if someone looks for something which is not available, they will get a fabricated or we can say attractive error page. Okay, instead of having a dummy error page, they can have a. You must have experienced a few of the website right nowadays having error page, very attractive error pages. So how they are doing it? This is the same way. They are developers creating error pages and they are getting hosted by their DevOps team. Okay. Any doubt, Durga or Somyo, on this lab? If you guys have, you can ask me. Okay, this is only what I explained today. This is only about how to host a static website, where I enabled the static website hosting option here in the properties section of S3 bucket. Okay, and uploaded the objects. You can see these are the objects uploaded. I'll share these all with you guys. Don't worry. You guys can perform the lab from your end. Then after we have to make it public. Otherwise, no one can get into the or able to read the content of these objects. So for that, I moved to the permission tab and blocked or disabled this block public access. Then I added one bucket policy. Okay, this thing I have generated in the AWS console, or what you can do, you can open a chat GPT agent and then ask there, this is, hey chat GPT, this is my bucket name and I want to enable static web hosting and create a bucket policy where I am allowing anyone can read the content. then it will create a bucket policy completely for you. Okay. If anything generic it adds, then you can customize it as per your own specific. Okay. But here we saw two drawbacks. First one is our website. Whatever we are looking, it's not secure. See, it's not secure. This is not secure. So the next thing is how we are going to make it secure. Okay, how we are going to make it secure. Otherwise, no one will visit our website. This is a good best practice to visit any of the website which is secure. Since it is not unsecure, and how you are expecting people will visit this website? As a DevOps engineer, it is our sole responsibility to make it secure. And I am going to teach you how we will make it secure in our next sessions. Also, the second point or the second delimitation or drawback which we are having here, it's an auto-generated URL. We don't want that one. We have a custom URL which is our organization specific URL, and we want to use this URL because if you look at this URL, what it is something like completely dummy, not possible for any general human to read it or to remember this thing. Usually people remember the names, right? But this domain is very complicated. Static web hosting, bucket name, then S3 website, then region, then blah 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 there. Okay. We are going to have a custom domain name. For that, we first need to purchase a domain. Okay. After that, we will start integrating that domain with our website so that we can deliver our content through a human readable as well as human understandable domain name. Okay. So for today's session, that's it. I am expecting all of you guys to perform this lab at your end. I'll share all the error index.html, errors.html, all the files with you. Go ahead. This is just simple lab. It will take only 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, just go ahead, create the stuff. Then after that, we will move to the other stuff. Otherwise, if you are skipping this thing or if you are thinking about skipping it, it will not be a good thing for you. Otherwise, when I will move to the custom domain name adding using Route 53 or making it secure through the CloudFront, there you will get confused what exactly I am doing. Okay, so with that's it. I am stopping this session for today. Okay.
Can I show the dynamic web hosting?
Mm-hmm. What Durga you are asking? Your voice is
Then
actually very
dynamic
low. Can you
dynamic.
speak little louder?
Can I show the dynamic web?
Dynamic
This
web
is
hosting.
static web hosting. Yeah, sure.
Uh, what can you repeat the question?
For the dynamic web hosting, how you yes.
For dynamic web hosting, we definitely need compute resource. Okay. And from where we can get the compute resource? If you go to all services and below that, if you see there, right, there is a compute segment. If you get into the compute, see, these are the compute resources. If your website is performing some sort of logic operation, or if it is interactive, like you are trying to update your status, you want to update your location, then definitely you need to host your application with a EC2, right, or with a Lambda, or few other options as well available. Like container is also a compute service. Let me show you where is EKS. I think under containers we can see, yeah, EK is also an compute service. In most of organization in real time, you are going to actively work with these kind of services. Okay, because all the websites will be dynamic. But besides that, there will be few of the websites which is static. That's why we are performing this lab today through S3. Okay, this thing we will be seeing. this dynamic web hosting in our next classes, future classes, when we will be checking EC2 and those all services. At that point, I will explain. Okay. But right now, static, since we are only performing the static web hosting or S3, we are going through the S3, that's why I show you static web hosting. Okay. Or anything. Okay. If you guys both good, just give me a minute. Let me stop the recording.